Hi, everybody. Welcome to Business Talks. My name's Ruth. I'm your host, and today joining us is Rishabh, and he's from Belong.co, but it's Belong, and he's going to just introduce himself, if you wish.
Yeah, hi Ruth, and hi to everybody who's watching this video. My name is Rishabh Kaul. I'm the co-founder of an HR tech platform called Belong. Belong is a AI-driven people platform that helps companies hire, engage, and retain talent. Uh, we're about uh, we're about I think about 5.5 years old. Started out of India in Bangalore, which is like the Silicon Valley of India, and over the last year or so, we've expanded to the UK, the US, and Singapore, and are very actively looking at the UK market specifically. So that's been our short journey.
Okay, and I see that Belong. They do different, like three main platforms that they have, which is the High Plus, the Engage, and the AccuHive.
Correct.
Yes. So can you just give us a little bit of info about each one of those? What?
Sure. So we play across different aspects of like our bread and butter is recruiting, right? So we spend a lot of time helping companies do different kinds of activities which eventually help them in recruiting stellar talent, right?
Okay.
And there are different ways of approaching that. So we have different products to look at different kinds of those activities.
Yes.
Belong Engage is a candidate CRM slash ATS. So CRM stands for candidate relationship management. Just like you have CRMs for sales processes like Salesforce or companies like that. We are taking the same approach towards maintaining relationships with candidates, right? And so it's an end-to-end platform ideally used by large enterprises which give them all the tools to help them attract talent, whether it's from a branding perspective, getting their brand out there, whether it's using really powerful campaign management systems, which is you've got these millions of people in your database. How do you reach out to them? Create really personalized one-to-one engagements, figuring out who are the kinds of people who might be fit for a particular role. So all of those things are automatically done using a very high level of personalization. So it's very candidate first, right? Because no candidate, when they're applying to a company, wants to be treated as just another resume in a box, right? So that's what Belong Engage does. Belong Hire um, Hire is is an interesting offering that we have, which is sort of like a managed services offering. While Belong Engage is a self-serve platform, Belong Hire is a managed services platform where we take accountability of the outcomes. So in a nutshell, it appears so it's almost like an AI-driven recruitment agency where we've got all this technology, it's all amazing, it works fantastic, but you as a large company, you as a say FTSE 100 company, don't really care about technology. What you really care about is the end outcome. Can I find fantastic people? And that is the accountability that we are going to take, and our commercials and costing is going to be much better than a traditional recruitment agency, because we have a lot of technology in the back end which helps optimize a lot on our costs, and at the same time use data to come up with really interesting outcomes really quickly, right? And AcquiHire is the third offering that we have, which is basically an extension of hiring, but it's almost like group hiring, right? Where we say that companies can either go about hiring individuals, or can go around acquiring small companies, right? Almost like an M&A function. But typically, if you think of M&A or the kind of work that investment bankers do, they are involved with helping companies acquire large companies,
Yes.
and talent is not really the focus there. It's more about the asset, or what kinds of
Yes. Okay.
business
Mm-hmm.
augmentation the acquisition can give. We take a very talent first approach to acquisitions, right? Where we say
Okay.
that, imagine if you're imagine like in the current situation, right? There'll be a lot
Mm-hmm.
of startups who might be running out of cash, and they might not really have a product which is completely ready or generating a lot of revenue, but they might have a really, really good team,
Yes.
um,
Yes.
and that team by itself, regardless of the product, has some value to a potential buyer, right? And so acquihire is used by companies that want to build really strong teams which have worked together with each other for a while, so that there's a lot of synergy. And we've basically got a platform which help companies acquire interesting small businesses,
Yes.
and it's great for the end acquirer because they are able to get in founders to join their team. If you look at some of the best companies out there, right, whether it's Amazon or Walmart or a lot of these companies, while they have a CEO, they also have a lot of former entrepreneurs which are working there, right? and
Yes.
and 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 founders bring in a special kind of energy because they've run their own company. So bringing on people like that into your company becomes very interesting. So that's belong acquihire. So these are the three
Mm-hmm.
pillars on which our company rests.
Yeah, so I saw an article that you wrote about helping early age startups. So, and obviously, with you saying getting such specialist teams, and do you help grow with the teams as well? Is this something that you help do? So, if you have such a good team, do
Yeah.
you also pair up others to make a bigger team? Do you do this with different businesses, or is it just in house for one?
So the way it works is, our end customers are large companies, right?
Yes, I
Think of,
saw that you have like over Fortune
yeah,
500
yeah.
companies and stuff like that.
And what would happen is that these companies, we would have a discussion with them, and they would say, hey, we are looking to hire, say, x hundred number of people in a year.
Mm-hmm.
And the discussion that we would have with them is that you can do it in two ways. You can directly go and hire people one by one, or you can basically go acquire teams. So
Mm-hmm.
what would happen is, with the end customer, we would say that, okay, say you want to hire 100 people, let's do maybe 70 or 80 people via the direct hiring, and
Okay.
say let's do 20 people via acqui hiring.
Okay.
um, and so now 20 people could mean one startup with 20 people.
I see.
It could mean two startups with 10 people each. It could mean five startups with four people each.
Mm-hmm.
And it works on a case by case
Okay.
approach. And on the other side, which is the startup side, the startups come to us and they tell us, what, this is what our journey has been. This is our situation in terms of our financials.
Mm-hmm.
And this are the possible kinds of exit options that we are looking at, right? So one startup might say that, what, I'm interested in joining an FMCG company, like a consumer packaged goods company.
Yes.
Another startup might say that, I want to join a telecom company. Another startup might say that, what, I don't really care about the kind of company, but I want it to be
So,
in London.
okay.
uh, a
Mm-hmm.
company which is very interested in technology. So at the end, then we end up becoming like a platform, like a matchmaking
Yeah. Okay.
service, which helps connect these two parts.
Oh, I mean, it's really interesting, especially now with the current environment that we have. There's,
Yeah,
a lot of, obviously, we were talking before about uncertainty,
yeah,
and this is something that obviously this is options that they could
yeah,
definitely go for,
absolutely.
and I think would work.
And
Take
yeah,
example, we was chatting earlier about to somebody about Primark. You know, Primark's such a big
yeah,
company, but it's not
yeah,
online. But
yeah,
obviously now they need to set, through their
absolutely.
supply chain and everything up, and this means recruiting. And
Yeah,
obviously they're going to have to do large recruitments for this
yeah,
kind of thing,
yeah,
and there'll be lots of
absolutely. And the real challenge that happens for traditional large brick and mortar companies is that it's very hard for them to attract digitally native young people who have spent a lot of time in technology, because all of them would want to go join a Facebook or an Amazon.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
If you were to catch a 24-year-old blockchain developer, and say that there's a large oil and gas company that wants to hire you, they would say, no, I want to go join
Yes, yes, yes.
Monzo. I want to go join companies like that. So it becomes really important that when we sit down with a lot of these large companies, we tell them that, hey, you have to become accessible. You have to sell yourself to these small startups as much as they need to sell to you, right? Because it's a choice on both the sides. They have to consider you as a good place to build their careers as well. So you need to be able to come up with processes where you will be able to live up to these young people's ambitions, so to speak, right? So
Yes,
that's
yes.
a very
Make it more
important
appealing.
aspect.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
And I think that that is a good way, like you said, for those larger companies to recruit those like younger people,
Yeah,
because the talent that they have as well,
yeah,
and they're very innovative, and
yeah,
everything is online, and the younger generation, I'm not saying the
yeah,
older generation don't know, but the younger generation, it's
yeah,
like it's like breathing to them. It's they've grown up
absolutely.
like that,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it's important
and
to have.
and it works two ways, right? I think the challenge that so that's the challenge on the larger companies front, right? On the startups front, the challenge is that if you have not quite made it, if you are not very highly funded, or you don't have a lot of revenues, no investment banker is going to talk to you.
Oh
You
yes,
can't go to Goldman Sachs and say, you know what, I'm a 4-member company with 10,000 quid as my
yes,
revenues.
yes, yes.
Can you find me a buyer? And so the startups are also often lost. They don't know who to talk to, because it's also a very emotional decision for them. it's not
Yes.
it's not just a business decision, right? Like
No, yes, of course. It's
somebody who's
yeah.
built their company for the last 4 years suddenly has to shut it down. They don't
Mhm.
even know who to talk to, right? Because they might feel guilty inside. They're like, I don't know who to talk to. So we come out and we say that, you know what, why don't you talk to us in confidentiality, and we'll try to find out what are the kinds of companies that would be interested in you, and we will make the right introduction to the right people. Because the challenge that happens when you talk to large companies is also that they're so large, so you don't know who to talk to, right? Like, it
Yes,
gets
yes, you
really
can
confusing,
get past. Yeah.
because everybody has a title of managing director, and you don't know who's the real managing director. There's 500 of them. So
Yes.
and everybody's a vice president. so
Yes, yes.
so it becomes important to sort of understand the dynamics of the large company as well. So we spend a lot of time doing all of those things.
Okay. The other question is what made you all come together to start Belong? I mean, there's a few of you on the team,
Yeah,
and you have such a strong team, and you have different backgrounds in your team.
yeah,
But I mean, how did you manage to merge so well and grow so rapidly?
yeah. So me and my co-founders, we went to uni together.
Okay.
We were all studying together. We all went to the same college in India, and this was in 2011 or 12 was when we
Mm-hmm.
graduated.
Yes.
And we joined early stage companies, because we just wanted to experience startups.
Okay.
We had no idea what we wanted to do in life,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Yes.
Like
Yes.
at 21, 22, you just want to get you're done with college, and you're like, okay, I just want to
Yeah. It's
start,
the work in
right?
life now. Yes.
And so we joined these early stage companies without any expectation of knowing what's in store.
Mhm.
And we both, me and my co-founder, we joined as early employees of these companies. Now when we joined them, we had no idea what we are going to do, because we didn't really have any work experience. I mean, we had done a few internships,
yes.
but we hadn't really done any full-time employment. And so both me and my co-founder, we joined separate companies as employee number 3 or 4. So the first guys after founders.
Yes,
And what you quickly realize is that when you are joining that early, you don't have a job title, because there is no company. It's just three people in a room, right?
You wear all hats,
Yeah,
as they call it. Yes.
So you get this weird title called head of everything else.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So you have there's a CEO, and if you're a technology company, there might be a CTO, but everything else, sales, marketing, HR, legal, finance, you have to take care of everything.
Yes.
And so we very quickly realized that we can't do everything on our own, and we basically have to recruit a team. And so head of everything else pretty much means that you're a recruiter.
Of course.
Now, the challenge when you're an early stage company with very little funding, no revenues, a 2-member or 3-member team, is that the traditional methods of recruitment don't work for you. A job board will not work for you because you don't have a brand. So why will people apply to you? Why will people apply to a company they've never heard of? You can't afford recruitment agencies because they're going to charge you an upfront retainer, right?
Yes.
And when you ask your friends to join, we had just come out of a recession. This was 2010, 2011. They're really happy working in the large Fortune 500 companies. So we faced a lot of difficulty in trying to build out our own teams. And me and my co-founder would exchange notes saying, "Hey, what are you trying? Are you trying something different?" So we tried out a lot of different tactics manually. And a lot of those tactics started working, right? Like we would cold email somebody with a very, very personalized message, right? Saying like, "I noticed that you wanted to work in this sector, but you were not able to. I think you would be a great fit with what we are doing. I noticed that you also go to these kinds of websites to,
So you did personal research on these people.
Personal one-on-one engagement.
You got to know them. Yeah.
And then eventually that's what we made into our platform, right? And our pitch to people who wanted to join us was very simple. We said that if we as individuals, there is only so much impact that we can create in our lifetimes, but if we help other companies bring on talent, then at a very aggregate level over the years we can create a massive impact, because we are empowering other companies to achieve their potential as well, right? So for example, if I help, like how you have Deliveroo in the UK, the largest food delivery company in India is called Swiggy. Just like how you have Uber in the UK, the largest cab aggregation company in India is called Ola, and Ola, I notice, is active now in UK as well. They launched last year, right? So by helping a lot of these companies, we are actually becoming a part of their growth story, right? And so that gave us immense satisfaction, right? And so that was our pitch to prospective joinees, right? That come help people belong at their workplace. And that was a powerful message, for people that wanted to create an impact, right? And I think as young people, now you can see I'm a little old with my white beard, but I assure you, when we started the company, the beard was completely black.
It's wearing all those many hats.
So as young people, you always want to do something which has some meaning, right? Like you want to be able to say 10 years later that, hey, I did this and this led to that. So that was how we got started about 5.5 years back.
Yeah. I mean, the other question is going through things like the funding process, which is a big question that a lot of the startups ask. I mean, how did you, because obviously with funding comes rejection as well. And like you were saying, not knowing, coming from nothing and building up, how did you manage to, tackle those obstacles that came along?
Right. So I actually started my career in a venture capital firm. I had spent 2 years in a VC firm, so I understood how the venture capital process worked. And then the startups that we had joined before we started up had also attracted venture funding. So we knew a few investors, like not too many, but we had some idea. And so like what we realized was that there are two ways that you can go about funding as an early stage company. Either you go out there and meet every investor, right? So in some ways it's like sales, right? Either you go out prospecting companies, or you create a situation where these funds want to talk to you, right? um, and we went with the latter, right? So what we realized was that if we try to go reach out to the funds, then they have the power because they can reject us. But if they reach out to us, and I'll talk about how one can do that. If they reach out to us, then it's sort of, it becomes a bit more of an equal conversation because they reached out, right? So they are interested and they will ask you, okay, how are you guys doing? How are you thinking about it, right? And so essentially what we did was that we we started mapping out who are all the influencers in the ecosystem. Who are all the people that would be interesting to talk to, some of whom might know other investors. So if these guys are interested in what we're doing, then the word of mouth will start kicking in and the investors will get to know about us, right? So if an investor has three friends and each of those three friends tells them, hey, have you heard about this new company called Belong? They'll be like, who is this Belong? I want to find out. I want to reach out to this company, right? And so what we did was we reached out to all the people that we knew in our network who weren't investors, but we knew that they knew investors. And we just asked them for feedback. We asked them that, hey, we are not looking to raise any funds right now, but we've built a new product. Can you tell me what you think about it? Right. And then once they would give their feedback, then we would tell them that, okay, do you like what you see? We might be putting together a small angel investment round at some point before we talk to VCs. Would you want to be part of our journey? I don't really care about how much money you put in. I just want you to put in anything so that you are part of our journey, right? So that almost created a movement, because everybody wants to be part of something when it's very early stage, before it's mainstream, because it makes you feel like you're playing an important role. So that's the strategy that we employed. And then once a lot of these, and these angels could be anybody, right? These could be former entrepreneurs, current entrepreneurs, it could be executives at large companies. And so as we started doing this, on the other side, we started getting a lot of startups as customers. So we reached out to our friends who were running startups and said that, you know what, we've built out this interesting new product and we'll help you hire, right? And so over a period of a few months to maybe 6 to 7 months after we started, a lot of investors started hearing about us through word of mouth, because a lot of their portfolio companies would be using us. And when they would catch up with their friends, they would tell them that, hey, here is this interesting company, right? And so then those investors started reaching out to us saying, hey, we want to know more. And then we would tell them that, okay, we don't really want to talk right now. We are very early stage. They'd be like, no, no, no. Tell us, right? Uh, yeah, so it's somewhat like dating, right? It's somewhat like that, where you once you are being pursued, then you can choose how you want to engage with them. And so that was our strategy, right? And that I would say that worked out well. And then of course that's just the first step. I think an investor, getting an investor on board is like marriage, um, because that investor is going to be on your journey for at least 10, 12, 15 years. And you better get along well with them, because a good investor can, add so much value,
Oh, yes.
and a bad investor can just be equally detrimental to the success of your company, right? So,
Yeah.
so you want to, so we spent a lot of time getting to know our prospective investors, spend a lot of time, do a lot of due diligence on them, just like how investors do background checks on us.
Yes,
We
yes.
did a lot of background checks on our investors. We spoke to companies that they had invested in, not just companies that did well, but also companies that did not do well, because we wanted to know, how does this investor react when your company doesn't do well? Because as a startup, you will have good
It's true.
times and bad times. So
Mhm.
you want to know how people behave when things aren't going well, tells you about their true character, right? So
Yes.
we spend a lot of time trying to understand what kinds of people our prospective investors would be, and then, post that, decided to, raise funding from some of these investors.
Mm, yeah, that's interesting. The other thing I want to ask is, right now, through the current climate that we're going through, and with how are you managing to promote your business still? Because a lot of companies are either unsure or on hold. Are you still trying to go through, trying to get people to join through the sales way, or are you backing off? Are you trying to put that you're going through more information?
Right.
How are you dealing with the process? And
So things have definitely slowed down, and the recruitment sector is one of the worst hit sectors, because the first thing that companies do when there is a recession is they stop marketing and they stop recruitment, right?
yes, of course.
And it's been very, very hard, for not just us, but I would say every company in the HR space. Um, so what we've done is, I think the number one thing that we've done is we are spending a lot of time with our existing customers.
Okay.
It's important to know that, in these tough times, they are the ones that are going to help you survive. They are going through tough times as well, but the fact that they are sticking with you, is a massive, um, is a massive sign of confidence, that they're showing in us. And we spend a lot of time with our customers trying to just ask them, how can we help? Second is, I think there's a lot of ways to build relationships, maybe not necessarily to do a hard sell, but to, just reach out to companies and say that, we understand that you might not really be buying right now,
Yes.
but can we help you out in other ways, right? So we might do some, pro bono research for them. We might help them craft their strategy. Uh, we've also sort of tailored some of our offerings, where we might say that, okay, you might not really be looking to hire people right now, but it's a good time to engage talent, so that when the economy opens up, you have a ready pipeline of people to recruit,
Yes,
right?
of course.
Because when the economy opens up, everybody is going to be hiring,
Yes.
and each candidate is going to have 20 options to choose from, for their job, at least the good candidate. So why not use this time right now to build a relationship, get to know more about the candidates, and do it at a large scale using our software. And that those are some of the ways in which we are engaging with our customers, right?
Yes.
And the third thing is that, if we are talking about sales, we are being very, very focused on the kinds of industries, which might be hiring right now. So while the coronavirus situation is bad for a lot of sectors, there are certain industries which are growing a lot, right? For
Yes.
example, I think certain telecom companies are doing well, because, in a time like this, everybody is on their phone.
Yes.
Certain technology companies are
Yeah.
doing well,
I
especially,
think there's
companies.
a big push in technology companies with
Yeah,
people regarding a lot of
especially
businesses that are really wanting to go online now.
companies, companies in communications, companies in educational technology, edtech companies, because, if there's no universities which are open, people are going to take courses online.
Yes, yes, of course.
I think those kinds of industries are doing well. Other than, of course, I think the essential services, are also sort of, they're not growing like crazy, but they're not shrinking as well, right? Think of your supermarket chains and things like that, because they're still doing business, because people still need, rice and wheat and oil and, things like that. So I think spending a lot of time with those kinds of sectors, because they might be hiring, right? So that's been our strategy.
Okay. That's great. And like you're saying, after this, there will be a huge surge in, recruitment.
Yeah.
Definitely afterwards.
We don't know when that is. We know it's afterward. When that afterward is.
But you're being prepared, so yes, you'll be ready for that. Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I think even your customers will remember you in terms of how you act in these times, right?
Yes.
So so we also have to be flexible. Some customers might want flexible payment terms, for example. Um, or some customers might say, "Can you help me with this?" Right? So I think we are definitely preparing in terms of um, uh, upskilling our team, for example. This is a good time to, because as an early stage company, you don't really have a very strong training department because you're always busy executing, right?
Yes.
And so now there is some sort of a breather. We are getting our teams to spend time on learning new skills. It's also a good time for our internal team members to pick up a lot of new skills. So people who are doing sales are picking up skills in marketing. People who are doing analytics are picking up software programming. So it's a great time to be learning more skills, right? So that's you have to use time in the best possible way.
That's it. Exactly. All right. Okay, thank you, Rubesh, for all your information and everything that you've given us today. I think it's going to help a lot of people. And but it was nice chatting with you.
Thank you. Stay safe, and I wish especially, I think the large companies will survive, but I just wish all the early stage entrepreneurs to just hang in there.
Yes.
Stay strong, keep a very tight watch on their cash, because cash is king in this environment. So find whatever ways they can to, conserve cash. And I hope we sort of get through all of this together. So
yes.
And thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. All right. All the information regarding Rabish and his company will be shown below. All right. Thank you, Rishabh. Take care.
Thank
Goodbye.
you.